Hi, I'm Chloe.
Hi, I'm Ellie.
I'm Kimberly.
I'm Irene.
I'm Miya.
And this is our third episode, and we're going to be talking about how mental health within Asian entertainment has affected our personal lives and views. Okay, so for me, I grew up in Korea. So I lived in Korea until 5th grade, and then I immigrated here. So, like for me, like even as an elementary school student, I could definitely feel like the pressure and like the really intense like beauty standards and things like that. Because as a child, I also looked up to these like celebrities in Korea, because back then they were like huge, like certain groups that were like at its peak in like 2014 and 15, and I would like collect their cards and stuff like that because I think they were so cool. Like these like 20-year-old like girls, like I would literally, I mean they were like my role models basically twice. They were my role models, and I feel like back then it was so normalized. I would like copy their dances, and I would try to like copy their outfits because I thought they were like so pretty and like so like skinny and things like that. And like I like wanted to be like that. And then when I came here, I noticed like the stark difference, I feel like, in like Western media and Western entertainment. You get to be like a little bit more free in the way you express yourself. And I actually really like that because I was so like locked in to this like Korean view that like you have to be skinny to like be popular in like music and acting. You have to be like fit. You have to have this certain like sharp nose, like big eyes and things like that. And when I came here, not to call like celebrities here ugly, but I feel like it's so much more inclusive in a way. And I feel like that kind of shows like the downside of Asian entertainment, like we talked about in the first episode. And I could relate to that on a personal level because I looked up to these celebrities as well. So yeah.
So, fun fact, I actually kind of had an opposite experience as you, because I was adopted from China when I was a baby. So for my entire life, besides whatever number of months I spent in China at the orphanage, I was raised here, same city, same state for like my entire life, probably from Dallas, Texas. And the area that we lived in and my schools, it was predominantly white. Like I was the only Asian kid in my grade. So all around me was white kids. And obviously in the West, I grew up with like that different, like the Western standard of beauty, and I never actually saw myself in those standards. So I never felt like I was pretty enough, and like I felt like, oh no, guys are gonna like me. Not that I wanted them to like me. Low-key, the guys are kind of crusty, but to middle school Ellie back then, no. But so I was actually getting into K-pop and seeing people be like, wow, oh my god, like fangirling and fanboying over these idols and be like, oh, they're so pretty, they're so handsome, like look at these, like it was refreshing for me to see like Asian features seen as desirable or seen as like, oh, that's attractive, that's so beautiful, when I had never seen that before. So that's very interesting that it was like completely opposite.
Yeah, I mean, I was born here. I was born in the U.S. I grew up in like the Seattle area, and how to say it. And if you know, like it's pretty Asian. It's like maybe 40. Like my schools were like maybe like 40 to 60% Asian. Like, if you know, the tech industry there attracts many Asian immigrants, so that's why. And I kind of, but I grew up on like Western media, so I never consumed any like Asian media until like high school or like middle school. Was I even like kind of aware of it as an option? So I kind of had that same experience where it was like, oh, this is the first time that I've ever like seen like white people like Asian people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It was such a weird I was like, oh, I guess we like Asian people now. I didn't know we were doing that. But yeah, it was so interesting. But I also I remember when K-pop became like popular in middle school and stuff. There were so many like things, beauty standards and stuff that I had never heard of before that I was being exposed to for the first time, like the double eyelid thing, or even like where people want paler skin. It was so it's like it makes you. I think it's better than like absorbing these from like a very young age, because at that point it's like it's something so new and different that it makes you kind of think about it and like kind of process it a little more thoughtfully. So yeah, it was interesting to see like all that kind of stuff blow up around me. Yeah.
I think it's really interesting to see the transition of like how there's now Korea boos. There's like people who want to be Asian.
Ollie London. Sorry for bringing him up.
No, no, like these people who like want to be like have these Asian features, or like the fox eye trend. That's crazy. But like I grew up. Well, look, I grew up around Asians too. So like, and sometimes I felt like the only way to connect to my culture was through these Asian medias. So it was really nice to like get like this other side of like entertainment where it's like from where I was from, or like from where my parents are from, and I could connect through that way. But I did see like comparing myself to like how these people look, and like I'm not reaching like these beauty standards, and I'm also not reaching like the Western beauty standards. Yeah, and it's like these like things that you have to deal with because you're from a different place, but you live here. Right.
Yeah. Okay. As an international student, I live basically in like an environment surrounded by Chinese, and as I've said before, just like you, like we have beauty standards, and like people praise like skinny, like seeing idols and like celebrities. So like that's a kind of emphasis of like a middle school version of life. So like we look into the mirror every day and like comparing to like those idols and like how they look, like how long's their legs, something like that. Like what makeup they put on, like imitating them. And like I remember once like a girl come to me and says, "You have really chubby ankles," and I'm like,
how old were you?
I was 6th grade.
Crazy.
She was like super rude, but I feel like because she's like not grown up yet, so
yeah, I mean it's
I forgive her saying that, but like that's what like we typically focus on every day.
Chubby ankles is so.
Chubby ankles.
Who's looking at anyone's ankle?
I don't know, like the emphasis of it.
Yeah.
It's maybe because of the like the media and like we are looking at these things every day, so we focus on those in daily lives. And then after I come here, like I feel like everything becomes different. Like people like switch emphasis. Like everybody just like go into the gym because like they want to be fit, like be like healthy, not just because of like they wanna be like having great bodies being praised, something like that. It's just like pretty different, and like being an international student is like really interesting to see how different kind of cultures come together, and like you guys have really different views like as me sometimes, and I feel like we watch different kind of stuff, and like you have totally different attitude toward at least as like crazy course stuff.
I didn't know that was
you don't even know that, but like people in China are always like focusing on these kind of news and like obsessed to like say bad words to those. Yeah, I feel like well, pretty interesting to be Asia, and like pretty interesting like to be here because like the cultures are mixing together. So
I mean, I think when when K-pop and K-dramas and anime and whatever and everything like that started blowing up, I think there was sort of like I don't know if this is me, I kind of felt an expectation to like relate to it, but honestly, like I relate a lot more to Western media, and like I don't know, it's good. I feel it's the thing with like the Mulan movie where I like the first movie when they did the remake, it was like people were like, it needs to be more culturally, but it needs to be more Chinese. And it's like, well, in my point of view, the original Mulan was always like an Asian American film. It was never a Chinese movie. It was never meant to be. I mean I love the original. Like it was like
But like Mulan is a historical.
Yeah. Chinese
Figure.
Chinese figure, but like the Disney Mulan movie was in my view, it was always meant to be like westernized and have like you know, who voiced the dragon is
Mushu.
yeah, who voiced it?
Oh, I don't
Not
know.
an Asian character, not an Asian actor. But yeah, it was always kind of, in my view, I couldn't have, when I watched that in like middle school, I couldn't have told you whether or not it was accurate or insensitive or whatever, because I didn't consume any Asian media. So I feel like when they try to make movies like that more Asian, it's like, well, that movie is for Asian Americans. It's not for Asians who live in Asia. It's always been like, that's kind of how I feel about like all of the new like this wave of like Asian media coming over. It's like, don't you really love it? Don't you really engage with it? I'm like, I mean, not more than I did with Western media. I feel more connected to Western media because I grew up here.
But yeah, I think it depends on where you grew up, because like for me, because we had like completely opposite experiences. Because like I grew up surrounded by Koreans in Korea, and when I moved here, I grew up in Orange County, where it was literally all Koreans. Like my high school was all Koreans. Like I don't think I made a single like white friend. So for me, like I obviously relate more with like my like Korean side. And I think it's so interesting because you said you resonate more with like Western media, but I think for me, like I resonate not like more, but like I guess I understand like better, like kind of like the background and history behind it. So I think like even if we're like all the same Asians, depending on where we grew up, like it's so different. Like, I really feel that difference.
I also think it's like kind of like how Asian Americans are still treated as like foreigners, sort of. Whereas like if you see, I don't know, nobody's asking Hercules to be more like mythologically. I know it's not historical, but like people don't give Hercules as much crap for like being. I don't know, like.
Oh, there are TikTok videos about like implicit racism too. Like Asian people, it's like asking them, "Where are you from?"
Yeah. Have you ever gone to Christian type?
Wait, I have.
You have?
Yeah. Like, where are you from? No, like, where are you actually from? And I was like,
I've only had it, well, kind of. I don't even know if this is really it, but went to like London for the first time like last summer or something like that, and there was a guy at a restaurant who I was ordering like food, and my dad was across the street, and he was like, "Where are you guys from?" And I said, "Oh, we're from Seattle." He said, "Oh, but where's your dad like originally from? Like where are you guys originally from?"
Where's his dad originally from?
Yeah, I was like, I mean, I said, "Oh, I mean like China," but like, you know.
That's the answer they were like
looking for.
I don't get it. I don't get why.
I mean, yeah.
Is that important?
I guess to some people it is, or they think it is, or they think it's interesting to learn about. But the funny thing is, if you reverse the question to them, like,
so weird.
"Oh, where are you from?" They don't know.
You don't know where
They don't know. They're
What's
like,
your origin?
"Oh, from like Kansas." Okay, where? No, where are you really from?
No,
Where's your ancestors? Where's your ancestors from? We're in Europe.
And I hate people come to me and say konnichiwa or
No way.
I was like, wait, how do you actually just like assume where I come from? It's like super rude and like that's not Chinese. And they don't they cannot like distinguish the languages.
Wait, Loki. I don't know if this is something related to the video, but I find this a kind of a funny story. So, mind you, my dad is white. He's an older white man. And when we were setting up my apartment here for this year, we were going down to Target, just me and my dad. And we're walking, and this white guy, like late 20s, early 30s, passes by, sees me and my dad, and says, "Nice trophy wife you got there." No way! What? That's insane. And my dad and I were like, "How come?"
said something like that.
That's crazy, and I don't know why he felt like he was able to say that, or why he should have even wanted to say that in the first place.
My goodness.
But
That's
I
insane. That is actually insane.
That is crazy. I was like, is this a hate crime?
It is. I think that hate crime.
It's like, what the heck?
Oh my gosh, no.
It's kind of funny in retrospect, though.
It is,
It's
but
like-
I don't know. Did you say anything back?
No, he just walked away, and my dad were like,
trying to process like what just like what did he just
Still
Aw.
processing.
That's such a crazy thing for a stranger to say.
Yeah.
for sure
That's
for a
crazy
white
for, like,
stranger
anyone to say.
Like,
Yeah, no, even if you, it's weird if you know that person, actually.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so weird.
Nobody
right
talks
to
like
say
that.
Yeah, it's like, go home. Like, why are you out in public running around?
I really feel like it's like the fetishization of Asians, like with like this huge dispersal of Asian media. Then all of a sudden there's like this weird undertone of like Asian women.
Yeah.
You know?
There's always
Crazy.
implicitly. Like,
Yeah, and also, okay, so I like a lot of like, I guess it could be considered like nerdy stuff. Like I mean, I went to Red Fair this summer. Red Fair was very nice, but I've heard a lot of stories about like Asian women who do like cosplay and do like who do like, you know, who go to these kinds of spaces where it's very traditionally like male and white, and the interactions they have are very like concerning. Like people will like, you know, always like fetishize them if they're in like cosplays, especially. People will think it's like okay to like touch them or you know, talk to them in a certain way, and it's like, I don't know, there's also like every single time you like interact with somebody, it's like the thought is kind of on your mind, where it's like, I don't know, where it's like, what is the thing that you're perceiving the most about me right now? It's probably my race, right? I don't know, especially in like if you're trying to like people, I mean, I don't date, but people who do, like Asian people who do date, like I feel like a lot of, and try to date people who aren't always Asian, a lot of the thought is like, am I being fetishized right now? Or like, do you only like me because I'm Asian? Or the flip side, or like, you would never date me just because I'm Asian. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of, it's always on the back of your mind. It's like something other people don't have to, like white people don't have to think about. I don't.
Well, I have a friend who was at UC Davis before, but she transferred to NYU. But like, she had a date with a white guy before, and that guy always had like Asian girlfriends.
Yeah.
Oh, red flag.
And like, she know him from like, she's been a tutor of Chinese, and the guy was learning Chinese and like always like come to her like come to her session and like so, and then he asked her something and
see, it's like, it's either like a guy who has never dated an Asian woman before, or he's only dated Asian.
I was like, why?
I even in like my parents' generation, because I grew up in a pretty Asian area, but also like decently white, nearly every single mixed race couple that I experienced with my parents' generation, like my friends' parents and stuff, if they were Asian, their dad would be white and their mom would be Asian. It was always that. It was never like it was never an Asian man and a white girl and a white woman.
Wait, you're low-key right.
Right?
I've never seen that. No.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like an issue if it's one couple. It is a weird trend. It's like very, you know what I mean? It's like, so why is it? It's because
No, but why?
but why? It's because white men want like a demure, obedient, like little Asian woman wife, and
like white girls will like look down to.
That's why. And
okay, men.
I feel like we should have connected it to mental health.
Mental health, that's bad.
But all that is it's messing with your self-perception and your idea of who or what, like
how you're gonna be loved, because I feel like
Yeah.
Asian women oscillate in this weird existence of you get told, oh, your eyes are too squinty, oh, these features don't, like no, but then you're also hit with, but you're demure, you're short, you're cute, you're obedient, and you're like, both sides are very wrong, like which.
Yeah. And it's like weird because it's like, well, even like the positive traits are like, oh, but you're supposed to be smart and you're supposed to be like whatever.
What do you mean by supposed to be?
I mean, like they assume you are. I don't know. Like people always.
You should be like collected, always like
Yes.
like, on top of your things.
And it's like weird because it's like, well, I do want to be smart, but I also don't want to be a stereotype. So what do I do? You know what I mean? It's like smart is a good thing.
But like you're smart, just like because of you're smart.
Yeah, I don't
It's
want
not
to be
because you're
credited
Asian.
to being Asian. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel
want
like in Asian culture, education is like important,
Mhm.
prioritized, and very
Yeah.
like emphasized. But like that's because we care about education. Like that doesn't give you the right to like treat us as like a human calculator. Like,
Yeah.
it's really-
No, actually, it's also very weird. Like growing up Asian and everybody telling you that you're supposed to be smart, and then I think I got to an age where I first heard the stereotype that women are bad at math, and then I was like,
That's always emphasized, I think.
yeah, I think I was in middle school. I remember I was in like 7th grade when I heard that for the first time, and I was like, oh, okay, is that a thing?
Yeah,
I didn't. I
heard
never
that way more earlier.
Oh, interesting. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't. Nobody told me that directly, but that was the first time I heard it directly. And that was very like weird for me to like process.
Yeah.
It was like,
Does that change anything? Yeah, like in your mind.
I thought about it a lot, but I don't know. I was still okay at math. I didn't get worse or better at math. I just
Did it change your attitude to others?
Okay. In my experience, as I don't know, somebody who's taken math classes and stuff, and I don't know, in college now especially, I think I've not seen like a disparity in like how good people are at math or at STEM subjects. The way some of those guys in STEM treat other people is crazy.
Yeah.
And I have friends who are like in CS and stuff, and they're like, girls in CS are the nicest people you ever met. Men in CS are the worst people you'll ever talk to.
the smelliest,
Like
Actually.
yeah. Yeah, but it was like those kind of people just irk me. You don't need to prove you're smart. If you're smart, you'll just be smart. You know what I mean?
Is she Asian?
Hmm?
Is she Asian?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. She's Asian, but I think she has.
Emphasizing those like stereotypes.
She's making it look bad.
But also, like, I remember on something else this girl said about Everything Everyone Wants. She was like, I don't know if you guys remember a scene in the movie where they flip through like a bunch of Evelyn's like possible lives, and one of them, she's a Chinese opera singer.
Yeah.
And that girl was like, actually, that's not accurate. Like the costuming was all wrong.
What?
And her makeup was all wrong. And it was like, this girl she's at least from my perception of her, she was super like mainstream Chinese, like mainland Chinese, in that she didn't like any Western, it was like Asian American, and she was like, actually, this movie was hated by mainland China. That's what she said in class. She's like, actually, real Asian people don't like this, and I was
She
like,
was just trying to be
What?
like,
and I was like, girl,
she's just like seeking attention.
Yeah.
she's just
Yeah.
homophobic is what it was. But that's what it was. She just didn't like that. I don't
She
know.
just want attention.
And I was like, okay, yeah. In music, Western like pop music, there's rarely ever Asian girls.
Right.
But recently, last 5 years or 5 years or so, I think there's been like a kind of a rise of like Asian girls in like bedroom pop. Yes, like MXM to Olivia Rodrigo. They're all Asian.
The girl that was at Broom Bash.
Who?
Cute.
doing
Yes,
something like that.
yes, oh yeah.
I was like, you don't cry.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool. That she was at Broom Bash as like a headline.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
No, my friend was there. She said it was cool, but yeah. I've noticed that recently. I listen to a lot of pop music, so that's and Olivia is Filipino. And I feel like I think it's interesting because like I think a lot of people don't even. It's very interesting that they've kind of formed this sort of niche of like sort of bedroom pop where like emotional lyrics are kind of the focus, and I the thing is I rarely see their Asianness being mentioned ever. You know what I mean? Like it's never like a topic of conversation really, which I think is. I don't mind actually because it's kind of exhausting to constantly have to hear questions from interviewers of being like, so how is it being Asian in Hollywood? And I'm like, it's you know how it is. It's not great, but it's like, and I think it's just like an interesting trend that I've sort of observed. The only time I've really heard about like Asianness being mentioned in sort of that way is, do you guys know Olivia Rodrigo's song Lacy? Yeah. People were saying that like, and I kind of interpret this way too, where like the girl she's describing in there fits a lot of very like Western beauty standards, like people think it might be like kind of a song about like feeling like she doesn't fit into like Western beauty standards or like blonde hair, like blue eyes kind of thing. And I think that's the only time I really ever heard it mentioned, but I think it's interesting. I actually, it's very refreshing to see Asian pop stars, and very few interviewers ask them about them being Asian.
Yeah, I've never heard or seen Olivia Rodrigo like ever mention
being Asian.
Talk about.
But she is half Filipino.
Yeah.
I don't even know she's Asian.
Yeah, I mean she doesn't.
She's so mainstream pop.
Yeah. But even like Love, people don't ask her about being Asian. It's great. I kind of love it because I'm like, there's always a kind of an expectation. Oh, do you guys watch Drag Race? Okay. RuPaul's Drag Race.
I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
You haven't watched it? It's okay. There's just like sometimes when there's Asian queens. The most recent winner was Taiwanese. She kind of talks about the show about like how she felt like she didn't fit into like when she moved to New York, she didn't feel like she fit into like Western standards, beauty standards, and then like the show doesn't have a great history with like how the Asian contestants, like there's a lot of Asian American jokes and you know like Asian stereotype jokes, but also like there's something about like they're always expected to bring their culture to the show. Like their runways, their costumes and their outfits are always expected to bring Asian culture and like they're supposed to be like traditional whatever. And some of it is really great. Like some of it is incredible, but also it kind of feels like none of the white queens have that kind of expectation being put on them where they have to be like they can dress however they want, but when it's like a challenge that's about like their heritage, they're not allowed to just talk about being from Kansas or something. You know what I mean? It's like they always have to talk about being Asian, which is like it's kind of a balance between like yes, Asian, obviously growing up Asian, being Asian affects your identity a lot, but also it's so tiring to have to mention it all the time, and that expectation of like you can't be too Asian, but you also can't be too white because then you're neglecting your Asian identity, blah blah blah, and it's like that balance that's super hard to maintain. I think.
I feel like that also causes like the identity crisis in a lot of like young people too. Yeah. Because I know a lot of young people, they're like too scared to identify too much with their Asian side, but like I feel like me too. I've had like identity crisis. But like, am I like being like too Asian like in the U.S.? But like I also like don't want to be too American, if that makes sense. Yeah. And that like contributes.
Like you definitely, I probably have heard like how people go like, oh, that she's so whitewashed, you know?
yeah.
And that bothers me kind of, because it's like, it kind of implies there's like a right way to be Asian and there's like a wrong way to be Asian. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of bothers me personally when people say that.
You know, I get it, because I feel like Asian is such a kind of like an arbitrary term at this point, because everybody is raised differently, even if they still identify as Asian. You know, like you're born there and you move to the U.S., or you're raised in the U.S. the entire time, or you were born there and then you come over here for college and you go back, or you were adopted. There's a whole different. There's all these different takes on it, and I think that there's no right way or wrong way, and I think that's what makes quote unquote Asian media very hard to interpret, because what is being presented, or what that one director is trying to present, is just one sliver of the Asian experience, and obviously not everybody is going to be able to relate to that. So I think that makes it a bit harder.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Everyone's gonna like view different media a different way and have their own interpretations based on like how they're raised. It's not something that you can change.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching!